Hi everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove, and thanks for joining me today. I thought today we'd do some fun stuff like a quickie sketch on roses. I had a couple of requests from some viewers on how to draw some roses, and I thought I'd walk you through it, and then we'll, if we have time, we'll do some little sewing projects here. So if you're not interested in that part, you can always fast forward or whatever it is you wanted to absorb from this tutorial. So we'll get started. I'm into this new kind of little hot beverage. I've been drinking a lot of coffee lately and it's kind of hurting me a little bit. So I switched to some lemon and some fresh ginger with hot water. So grab yourself a drink and make yourself cozy. And we'll do some sketching. So I used my standard HB pencil. It's mechanical, and it's a 0.7 lead, which is the size of the lead, but it is just an HB, so it's a medium softness. And we're going to do some little sketches like this today. Probably do this guy. And it's about staying loose. Follow along with me. Pause the video, fast forward the video, put me in the background, whatever you want to do. But it's about having fun, relaxing, trying to catch a little bit of the form of the flower and some shading and just having fun. And this is my go-to coffee dyed paper. I use it in all my quickie sketch videos. And I just stamp it with this old stamp here. It's like a writing that you can't read, and some vintage ink. Here it is here. Some vintage photo distressed oxide, and I just stamp and rub it along the edges to give it that even more old look that I happen to like. So let's start. Roll up my sleeves to get serious. All right, I'm gonna put these aside. I'm gonna make sure I am in view. Maybe pull you down a little bit more. I'm just trying to, my camera's low. There we go. So we're going to start relatively in the center. We want the rose to fill up the center of the page. And you can even draw yourself a circle if you want to kind of gauge where the flower's going to go. We're going to start with a petal that curves towards us. So we're going to kind of give ourselves a wonky line here. And then we're going to pull that down into a little bit of a triangle. And with my quickie sketches, we're always going back and forth and making adjustments. That's what sketching is all about. So we're going to find the center of this flower, and we're just going to go off center a little bit, and we're going to roll it up like that. And we're going to bring that one back down. So we have a piece going up like this, and then we're going to have a piece going up like this. So it's not going to look like a rose for a little bit yet. Then we're going to put in a kind of, I guess, semicircle up here in between these two. And then we're going to do another line around it like that, and it kind of wiggles. So we're catching in the rose where it's opened up and all the flowers, all the petals are rolling over with the flowers wide open. So now we're going to do a line going back from the top of this one back here and the top of this one back here. And again, we're going to play with those forms and shapes in a little while. So now we want to create the rest of the petals. So we've now formed the center of the flower and a petal rolling towards us. So this one's going this way. So let's build up some more petals. So we are going to go back here, say just off center, and give ourselves a wiggly line back to here. Just a wiggly line. And then let's do a wiggly line from here all the way into, say, here. And then what I like to do is start giving the petals a little bit of curvature so they kind of roll in on themselves a little bit. And we're going to develop that a little bit more in here as well. Let's see what's next. Let's do a petal out this way. And we'll bring that back to the center. And then maybe do one around this side and bring that back to the center. And we could do one over here, like this, back, another one down here, and then we'll do a final one right here. So we can start adjusting. So I find like this flower's moved more this way than that way. So what we can do is just take our eraser and just modify these a little bit. And the more you draw these, the better you get at them. I don't draw roses very often, so I had to practice a little before I could do this video, just to make sure I could actually draw them. And I think we'll pop this guy just a little bit higher. Just to have it play with the petals now and start creating even more interest in the flower. So we can do, I'm just gonna put my reference in front of me. So let's curve these guys out a little bit. So these ones maybe curve away from the center, and we'll erase that original line. Don't have much of an eraser left. So there it is, curving out. We can fill this, we swirl this. I just give it kind of like a little swirl like that, just to show that those petals are still wrapped up tight in there. And let's maybe give this a curve. So where they joined in the corner here, we're gonna erase, and we're just gonna give it a new line like this. And that's that curvature coming out. I'm gonna go past this guy a little bit. And that's, so now we've got some petals that are moving out this way, and then they start moving out away from the flower even more, the center of the flower, sorry. I'm just gonna give these a couple of little double lines here, make the petals kind of curve a little bit. All right. So I think I'd like to break this up. This is bothering me a little bit. So I'm gonna erase this. And it's as simple as going back and forth. Now, if you have a rose in front of you, that's even better. That will help a lot. I just didn't like those touching like that. I wanna break up the shape of that flower a little. So it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of sketching, a lot of playing, until you get the overall form you're looking for. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So I'm gonna give myself the stem, which would come down from the center of the flower like this, and sketch in some thorns. And now I'm gonna play with a little bit of shading in here, just to try and bring the form out even more. So the center inside, the deeper inside the flower, the less light will penetrate. So that's where your shading is gonna come from. So you're gonna darken, nice and loose, little sketch marks. And you're gonna darken inside the center of the flower here. So what I wanna do though is when I shade it, I wanna take my time doing each shape so that all that work of drawing those shapes comes forward. So I don't wanna lose all my shapes. So right in here would be nice and dark because it's nice and tightly rolled. And these edges would be bright because they're rolled out like this, so the light would be catching them. Underneath, they'd cast a little bit of a shadow there. So we're going to do a little bit on this side. And again, this is just little scrap pieces of paper. This is just practice. Don't put the pressure on yourself to create a masterpiece every time you pick up the pencil. Just enjoy the process. Learn a little something every time. And give yourself a chance to learn. It's like anything. You have to practice. And I'm going to rotate this, sorry, it's easier on my wrist. You have to practice and work at it. And every time that you do, you'll learn something new about sketching. You'll learn what you like to sketch, what you don't like to sketch. So it's a fun experience to keep just picking up the pencil and trying it. So I'm just gonna, so you see how I'm moving away from the center of the flower? I'm not going this way. So the flower's growing in this direction. Those are the directions I wanna shade in. And that's important because that will also give you much more form than just shading flat. So I'm just gonna, again, follow the contour. So this petal's growing out like this. I'm gonna rotate it again, sorry. Normally I try to keep it in one spot, but there's so much movement to these petals that it's a little hard on my wrist. So now I'm gonna move it again. So this one grows from the center, so it's gonna come out like this and it gets shaded in that direction. And you can see instant form. Then if I were to just go straight across, oops, my lead broken, yeah. Uh-oh, am I out of lead? Yep, try to be prepared. Sorry, I'm gonna switch pencils here. Just gonna go to a regular little pencil. So if I were to go straight across like this, see how flat that petal looks compared to this way? So you wanna make sure that you follow the direction in which things grow. So I'm just gonna finish this one and then I'm gonna rotate it again this way, just a little easier on my wrist. And just scribble away, start off nice and light with your shading. So this is just this is an HB pencil as well. Okay, so I'm gonna, again, this one is growing towards me. So it's gonna go out this way. Just give it a little bit of texture. And there we go. So now you can really look at your flower and think, okay, I really want to pop the center a little more. So I'm going to darken a little bit. I'm going to push a little harder on my pencil in these spots, just to give that definition of petals emerging from the center here. Really pop that center a bit. Without going too dark. And I tend to go dark, so I end up using my eraser to correct it. And now I've switched pencils. It's a different look than my mechanical pencil. There we go. Define those lines. So nice, neat lines here really help define the shape. Really clean those up. So there's our little rose. So now we can do some leaves, because rose leaves, let's see if I can find another pencil, because this one's a bit dull. Here's a 2B. So rose leaves are just as pretty as the flower. I think they have a lot of character in them. So we're gonna do, let's do a leaf selection of leaves going up behind the flower. So they're gonna grow behind the flower, so we won't see anything where the flower is. And they have these kind of rough, prickly looking edges, so they're not prickly. And then we'll give it some veins. And again, just quick, nice loose sketching. And then maybe one will come over here. Just again, nice loose sketch. I love adding sketches into my junk journals. I just find they have such a nice little added touch to a journal. I'll do one down here. And you see I'm going this way on this side of the petal and this way on this side of the petal. Now that center vein is right there. And we'll do one more in here maybe. Fill that in. One way and then the other way. So nice and quick and loose. And grab your drink, take your time. All right, let's do one coming out this way. So I'm gonna curve, this one is gonna come out this way. Let's darken that stem so we don't lose it. Just add some texture in there. And we'll have a leaf coming this way. And we'll fill that in. This way on this side, this way on this side. You can give as much detail as you'd like. Like I said, these are just quickie sketches. But if you really want to take your time and do a nice study of a flower, that would be really nice too. And what's nice about your own art is you can photocopy it, you can scan it, you can reuse it in lots of different ways. So it's not just a one-time deal. You put all this work in and not be able to use it more than once. There's lots of ways to reuse your work. So I'm gonna put a petal way back here, which means I'm just gonna put a little light on this stem so it doesn't get lost. So I'm just gonna pop the stem a little brighter and then darken it back here. And let's do one poking out here. So if the stem was to continue through, here's the top end of that leaf. And maybe one more right here. And we could do something fun with this one. So maybe this one curves on itself. So the center is in here. And this is the back edge of the leaf. So you do that as well. So there you go. There's a quick little sketch of a rose. And like I said, it is quick. It's rough, but it's got some character and it's got some depth. It's got some interest and it's got some realism. So let's sew some stuff to it. So I did cut a couple of little bits and pieces because nothing goes nicer with a vintage sketch like this than laces, in my opinion anyways. So I thought I would pull out a little collection of vintagey looking lace that I have. And not all of it is vintage, of course. A lot of it is new. And I'm gonna pull the sewing machine in and make sure this time I do have it in view, because I'm notorious for cutting that part out. And I want you guys to hopefully see. So I think you can just see there. All right, so let's sew this guy together. And I really love adding these kinds of things together. Like you could put tissue paper in here. Oh, I had a really nice piece actually of, see if I can find it. I just thought of it now, so I don't know where I put it. Let's just bear with me for a second, see if I can dig it up. It's this really pretty coffee dyed vellum, I guess it is, but it's just, I thought the crinkle is really fun. And I just thought of that now, that this could be really fun on there. So let's try it. Move this stuff aside, sewing machine, and just grab my scissors. Bear with me, I'm forever making changes. So I love the crinkle of this stuff. Just again, another added texture to your journal, using up materials that you have. So this is just a piece of vellum that I coffee dyed and forgot all about apparently. So let's add that to it, because I like that. And we'll put this here, and then we'll just sew it. All right, is that? And none of my edges are straight. I call these messy scraps because that's what they are. They're messy. This one's a bit crooked, but you can't even see it. Let's try this one. And I coffee dye most of my fabrics. When I go on a coffee dye run, I just coffee dye everything. And this one too is a little hard to see. Let's cut another piece. So here it is, coffee dyed. So I want to make sure that I can actually see the lace, because the lace is, again, another layer of texture that I really like. So we'll lay that down, lay this down. Let's take a little bit off the top here. Lay this down, and then cut. So there. Hopefully we get it semi-straight. And then you just make a whack load of clusters of these things, and they're ready to throw in your journal whenever you want. You can trade them with other people's work or sell them or do whatever you like. But they come together pretty fast once you've got all your stuff out. You got thread, because last time I tried to do one of these videos, I ran out of thread, so I couldn't finish it for you guys. So I made sure I had thread this time. Try and keep it a little professional anyways. So I'm going to sew down the top and the side here, because I think I'm going to add some lace to the bottom. So you don't want to sew any more than you have to through the paper, because it does eventually weaken the paper. So I've sewed down these edges here. So now I think I'm going to add some sort of lace along the bottom, because I do love the look of laces and roses together. So here's a little old piece of lace, and maybe something like this on top of it. Just all these textures combined looks so pretty to me. Or maybe we could do something like this and then put the lace on top so it shows a little more. Don't like the white. Don't like that one. That's the problem when you have too much too, is you can't make a decision. This one has kind of little roses in it, which is kind of cute. So maybe we can add that to the bottom and this to the top of that. How about something like that? It's kind of fun. Or do we want to go bold? Yeah, let's do this. So I'm going to chop a bit, and then I'm just going to sew it. Now, do I want this going up here as well? Or is that too much, do you think? That might be too much. Maybe something thin going up there. That's kind of pretty. Let's do that. All right, so I'm gonna chop a piece of this and sew that to it at the same time. So I'm gonna put this underneath just so I don't forget to add it. And then I'm gonna put these over top where I want them. And try not to cover too much of the sketch. Oh, I forgot. Before we do this, we want to spray paint it. We want to use some hairspray and just spray it really quick. And that fixes the sketch so that oops, I almost dropped my hairspray, so that it doesn't rub off on your fingers. So I sprayed this one so you see the charcoal doesn't come off, because that's important. Otherwise, it makes your junk journal dirty really fast, and it smudges your sketch. So we'll just go ahead while that's drying. Normally I would let it dry, and you do want to sign it. That's another thing. Don't forget to sign your work. And we'll put this here, we'll put this here, and then we'll hit the sewing machine again. And hopefully get it relatively straight. But if it's not, not a big deal. Not to me anyways. If it is to you, you're more than welcome to pin it down or glue it down, tack it down with some glue. Just be careful with glue because it does gunk up your sewing machine. So you want to make sure that you don't get glue all through your machine and needle. All right, so that's that. And then we'll do it again going this way. And you can have fun with stitches too if you got one of those fancy machines that does all kinds of fun stitches. Mine's pretty old school, so it's basically straight and zigzag are my options. But that's enough for me anyways. So there we have it. Cute little sketch. I'll move this guy back out of the way. And I think I hairsprayed my my lemon water. Oh well. And there's a nice little sample to add into a journal. You could, now that this has been sprayed, you could turn this into a journal cover and add it to more fabric, or sew it to another piece of paper, and it just keeps going and going. So you can incorporate all kinds of things. So I do hope you liked the video today. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you here again with another quickie sketch and some more junk journaling ideas. Take care, everyone. Bye.